These are the headlines that made the year 1997. On January 1st, the Republic of Zara joins the World Trade Organization as Zaire. It is now known as the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
January 12th, golfer Tiger Woods wins the Mercedes Championships.
January 15th, Dennis Rodman, a Chicago Bulls basketball player, kicks cameraman Eugene Amos in the groin during a game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He has to pay $200,000 to Amos and is suspended for 11 games without pay.
January 26th, the Green Bay Packers beat the New England Patriots 35-21 in Super Bowl 31.
February 5th, O.J. Simpson is found liable in the deaths of Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman in a civil court action.
February 6th, in England, Diana Blood wins the right to use her dead husband's sperm.
March 4th, the Brazilian Senate allows women to wear trousers.
March 27th, Martin Luther King Jr.'s son meets James Earl Ray, his father's killer.
April 30th, Ellen DeGeneres publicly announces that she is gay, as 42 million people watched.
May 24th, Tim Allen, actor, is arrested for drunk driving in Michigan.
May 30th, Betty Shabazz, Malcolm X's widow, is set on fire by their 12-year-old grandson. She died on June 23rd of 1997 of her injuries.
June 26th, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling is published. It goes on sale over 120 million copies worldwide.
August 31st, and perhaps one of the most famous events in 1997, Diana, Princess of Wales, is killed in a car crash in Paris. She was 36 years old.
September 5th, Mother Teresa dies in India.
November 19th, septuplets are born to the McCarthy family in Iowa. Their names are Alexis May, Brandon James, Joel Steve, Kelsey Ann, Kenneth Robert, Natalie Sue, and Nathaniel Roy.
December 31st, both South African and American surgeons separate Zambian twins, joined at the hip.
These are the events that made the year 1997. And in 2024, you're listening to XY PodCats. That was a long one.
That was pretty good, though.
You had held it together. I was hoping that you would break up on the sperm.
I tried. I had to hold my mouth. That's how bad it was.
Folks, you are listening to XY Podcasts. I am Scott, Gen X.
I'm Sam, Gen Y.
And we're silly.
Oh my god.
We're 12.
So how was fifth grade?
She got her husband's dead seed.
No, that's horrible.
She won the right to use her husband's dead sperm. Her dead husband's sperm.
Oh.
What's disturbing about that is it doesn't, I guess you'd have to look it up. It doesn't say for what.
How would you Google that?
Well, I mean, these days it can't be that hard, but
dead sperm enters traffic. I mean,
I'm glad that's all AI driven now. Could you imagine like sitting in a basement somewhere working for some computer internet browser company and that comes across your screen? Okay, what do I gotta look up now? She bought her dead husband's sperm. What did she do with it?
oh,
I mean, and I'm assuming obviously she wanted to use it to, procreate, to, make a child from the man that she loved while he was still alive. But I mean, you don't know. I mean, she might have hated him and wanted to use it for like hand cream or something.
break out the Ouija board. We're gonna put the sperm in the middle.
So 1997. So we're both alive, both able to consume entertainment for the most part in first person, the first time through. And I was I remembered there being a lot of media to consume when I lived through 97, but going back through it to prepare for this podcast, uh, I had forgotten about a lot of the stuff that was out at the time. And like I said, music is usually always crazy, but like
Mhm.
the movies, gracious, there were a lot of movies.
Oh yeah, there's an
Uh,
absurd amount.
so speaking of which, I should probably go first to get mine out of the way. I did another top 10, but
Okay, yeah, I've got 10 also.
I cheated and I've got a buttload of honorable mentions. My top 10, starting backwards from 10 and counting down to 1. The at number 10 is Gross Point Blank with John Cusack and Minnie Driver. I mentioned it in a previous podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an action comedy, but it's about a hitman who goes home to his hometown for his high school reunion. And then number 9 is possibly one of the best science fiction horror movies ever made, but I didn't appreciate at the time, and that was Event Horizon.
That's a good one. I did see that one.
No, I in as the years passed, I really began to appreciate just how creepy that movie is.
Right. The movie kind of reminds me of Ghost Ship.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's just a ghost. It's
Yeah.
a ghost ship in space. But yeah, it works. I mean, it's not a very logical movie, but it's creepy as all get out. Number 8, and of course this is going to be on somebody's list, so it's probably on both of ours. Titanic.
Well, you made the list. I didn't have that one on mine.
Okay, well, good. It's at number 8 because I mean it's James Cameron. The film is
Hmm.
masterfully done. There's not a bad frame in the movie. He actually convinced everyone that he did indeed bring the Titanic back to life. Looked great. Everything was fantastic. The movie was 3 hours long, still holds your attention. But I'm sick of hearing of it. I would
Titanic, aka the iceberg.
right. So maybe, and I didn't consciously put Event Horizon and Titanic on the list side by side. It just happened that way. But I didn't want to put Titanic up any higher than number 8 because, well, everyone else is raving. Everyone else raved about that movie. It deserves a spot on my top 10, but it's not my favorite movie in 97,
Right.
even though it's probably flawless.
And if somebody says they hadn't seen it, somebody's lying to you.
Yeah. It's possible. I don't even, I think it's possible my father has not seen it, but he hasn't seen everything. Then again, I take it, those, never mind. He probably has. I'll ask him next week.
All right. And
Number 7 is Good Will Hunting. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, their
how did I
original
look over that
screenplay.
one?
Yep, good movie.
Oh yeah.
Robin Williams got his only Oscar, well deserved. L.A. Confidential, which probably a sleeper hit for that year, but I actually bought it on DVD. Really good crime drama set in the 1950s. Guy Pearce, Russell Crowe, Kevin Spacey, James Cromwell. Good movie. If you get a
Big
chance,
name
check it out.
actors.
Yeah. It's another one that you might have slept on. It's a David Fincher flick, but I don't know if how many people remember it, but it was really good. It's The Game with Michael Douglas. That's all I'm going to say about it. Just look it up, and if you can watch it, it was really slick.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that one down.
Next is Contact, based on the Carl Sagan book of the same name, with Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's a really good movie.
It is. Coming in at number 3
Hmm.
is Men in Black,
Oh, the
which,
original.
yes, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld and of course Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. And Still fans of both of those guys, although, obviously Will Smith has fallen from grace, a couple years ago because of his actions at the Academy Awards. And Tommy Lee Jones is kind of withering away to like just kind of he's kind of a crusty troll of a man now. He's just really old. You always knew that he wasn't going to age well, and he hasn't. But he was just like one of those dudes. When I was coming up, he was a man's man. I had a friend and colleague, an acting acquaintance
Hmm.
who who's gay, and I don't know what the common thinking is, but he just asked me, if I had a man crush, what the man crush would be. I don't know if he was trying to see if I was uh secretly gay or curious or whatever. And I was like, I don't really have a man crush. It's just not. He said, well, if you just had to pick someone, I was like, okay, well, Tommy Lee Jones. And he's like, oh, you're straight. That's what I was trying to tell you. But yeah, Tom Lee Jones just saw he had this he had this coolness, and he always had this way of delivering lines that wouldn't be the first way you'd think about the line being delivered. That's kind of one of the reasons I always dug him as an actor. Um, Coming in at number two, Air Force One,
Good movie too.
and then at number one, and this might be a surprising pick, the 12 Angry Men remake in '97. So it was Jack Lemmon, George C. Scott, Courtney Vance, Michael T. Williamson, Tony Danza, James Gandolfini, and a whole lot of other folks who it's just a really good cast and really good story. It's the Sidney Lumet script. It's also been done as a play several times, but both
Hmm.
movies still hold up.
Hmm.
I mean, they still hold up as being watchable, but you have to kind of do them as a period piece because nowadays you're never going to get a jury with just all 12 men. And that's really a part of that story. For that story to work the way it's written, it really does have to be men. And everybody save your letters and all your comments. I'm not being misogynistic. I'm just saying that that's just the way that the script is written. And it was definitely a story that was meant to be told, back when the original story was written and produced.
Right.
But the remake is also pretty good. It's not as good as the original, but it's a good remake. So if you ever get curious. So I'll just fly through my honorable mentions really quick. Volcano and Dante's Peak, that's one because they're the same movie, just at different times, about the same thing at different points of the year. Starship Troopers, Con Air, The Fifth Element, Copland, The Relic, Fierce Creatures, Rosewood, Liar Liar, Double Team, Mimic, The Relic, and Cube. Yep. Double Team stars Dennis Rodman, who kicked a cameraman in the groin.
And who also married himself.
Yes, well, and of course, the turd of 1997. Not that there was just one, but this is a pretty big one. Batman and Robin.
Oh, the flop.
Yes.
Strong list.
Well, thank you.
I have 10, but I didn't number them because I didn't know how I was gonna,
Oh
because
no, that's fine. That's
so coming in at number 10 is Invisible Dad. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's so cheesy.
Invisible Dad.
Yeah,
So I remember there was a Bill Cosby movie called Ghost Dad. Is this not that? Is this something different?
this is something different. Yeah, the kid wishes his parents were invisible, and now like the next day they wake up, the dad is all you see is floating clothes. It's it's funny, but you're like, this is kind of cheesy now. So number nine, Star Kid. Ha-
uh
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I don't remember it.
There's an alien come down. It's just an exosuit, and the kid that saw the alien come down inspects the suit, and he allows the kid to get inside the suit to use it.
Oh, okay.
So number eight is Liar Liar,
Yes.
one of my favorite movies that Jim Carrey's in.
It's funny.
My favorite part's the courtroom scene where he
Well,
runs through the speeding tickets and the
yeah, the courtroom scene is funny. I think my favorite single gag from the movie is the elevator.
yeah.
It was me.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this movie. So number eight was that no, that was number eight, right?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, we'll just go with number eight is Spawn, the original Spawn, not the cartoon.
Oh, okay.
Superhero movie. Kind
Yes.
of reminds me of like a serious Deadpool.
Well, yeah, I remember I saw it in the theater. It wasn't perfect, but they couldn't have gotten the casting any better.
Yeah.
Getting Michael J. White to play Spawn, you really
hmm
can't do any better than that. But they weren't quite ready to make that movie quite yet. And maybe should have waited a few years.
Early 2000s had a little better CGI.
Yeah,
It definitely would have been a bigger hit, I believe. They would have waited like 4 or 5 more years.
I agree.
Number seven is 007 Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yes, yes, excellent one. And when I was doing my research, that one I had missed, and it probably would have made it onto my honorable mentions.
Oh,
Because the plot was ridiculous, but it
hmm
had something. In addition to Pierce Brosnan just being a cool Bond, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves for being a good Bond because most of his movies as Bond were pretty simple.
yeah.
Goldeneye was really the only solid script that he got. The rest were, anywhere from fair to middling. But Tomorrow Never Dies had something that no other Bond film had that he was in. Michelle Yeoh.
Well, there you go.
That was the movie where I learned who she was, and I was like, "That's some bad boss lady action there." I,
Right.
I would have married her right then and there.
And just like GoldenEye, 007 Tomorrow Never Dies spawned a game out of it for PlayStation 1.
Oh, I knew about the GoldenEye game. I did not know about
hmm
the Tomorrow Never Dies game.
Oh yeah, I was in sixth grade when it came out, and me and my buddy, he would come over, and that's all we did every weekend. Try to beat the game.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. And for gamers out there, they made a red version and a blue version. I don't know the difference, but
One's for Democrats, one's for Republicans, and
that's the only thing I could think of at this point is that. So number
no.
six, Gone Fishing.
Okay, that one did come up in my research.
It's just
I
a good story, family movie.
think I remember watching it years ago. And yeah, that movie lives or dies just based on how good Joe Pesci and Danny Glover are.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of reminds me of the oh, what's that one movie? Danny Glover's in.
Pure luck.
No, it was a boxing movie.
Oh,
Yeah, he was
oh,
he was a coach. He was like one of the trainers at the facility.
oh, okay. Oh, that's something I'll have to look up. I'm not familiar with that.
I just can't remember the name of the movie.
Hmm.
When you find it, let me know because I want to rewatch it. It's really good.
Okay.
Uh, number five, I have Absolute Power.
Okay. Refresh my
I
memory. I remember the titles from there.
I skimmed through that movie. I didn't really watch it. It just seemed pretty good, and I'm gonna have to rewatch the whole movie.
Okay.
Uh, number four, The Saint. Exactly.
Dun, 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 dun. Well, yep, Val Kilmer. Um, Perhaps he was a nightmare to work with. I, don't know that for a fact. That's something that you hear about him constantly,
Hmm.
but there is no question that he was a very, very talented guy. And
He's very on point.
yeah, and pretty much with everything that he does, he's really good.
Yeah.
And the Saint was a great vehicle for him. I'm sad that they only made one, but who knows what the behind the scenes drama might have been. But yeah, I do remember enjoying that film.
It was really good. Speaking of vehicles, number three, The Ride.
The ride. Who was in that?
Uh, no, it's not the right time to be doing all that. My cousin tried to call me. She watches this podcast.
Oh, okay. Are you recording?
Uh,
Yes.
I'm busy. So the actors in it is Michael Ben
Michael
and
Bean.
Bean, yeah, and Brock Pierce. It's a kind of like the 8 Second Ride movie. It's a not a western, but a country cowboy.
I think I came across that in my research.
It says he's an unexpected teacher at a rodeo.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of uh Val Kilmer and Michael Bean, they were both in Tombstone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Val Kilmer was Doc Holliday, a very memorable, probably the most memorable Doc Holliday on ever put to film, which was a shame for Dennis Quaid, who also put on film a very good version of Doc Holliday in Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp.
Yes, that was a
But
good one. That's the only one I know of was Dennis Quaid.
oh yeah, you need to see Tombstone. And I, as much as I liked, and I did like Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp, albeit it was a much longer version of the same story. But Tombstone just came together in such a memorable way, and Val Kilmer was such a huge part of that. Kurt Russell actually played Wyatt Earp, and Val Kilmer was Doc Holliday, and he had all the best lines. Like,
Is that the one where he says, "I'm your Huckleberry"?
yep, that's the
Yeah.
one. I'm your Huckleberry, and his accent with like the slight lisp. Why, John Ringo is an educated man. But Dennis Quaid has my favorite line, probably one of my favorite lines out of the movies in the history of movies from his portrayal of Doc Holliday.
What's
There's
that?
a scene, you remember the scene where he's drunk and he's like, everyone's looking at him. He's like, you can all kiss my rebel dick.
Yeah.
I howled. Yeah, if you haven't seen Tombstone, though, you should definitely give it a watch.
But at number two, Donnie Brasco.
Ooh.
Yeah. I watched this when it came out. I was 8 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably not a movie I should have been watching then, but
Well, I mean, we already know from past episodes I've got no room to talk.
but
I was the one who didn't watch Best Little Whorehouse in Texas because my understanding was it was all tease and no sex. So
that's still a movie you need to watch.
I will definitely get around to it.
But my number one pick, and I bought three versions of this movie. Flubber with Robin Williams.
Oh, I'm ashamed to admit that I don't remember if I saw it or not in its entirety.
Really?
And I love Robin Williams. So my thinking is that maybe I meant to see it and just never did, and have just seen like little bits and pieces and clips from it.
So he
But
has like the lab downstairs and he makes that green goo.
yeah, that much I do know, but I
Mhm.
think, that you would find out that much in the previews. I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's like the green goo has a mind of its own. It's made and it flies around the place, and then there's some points where you feel sorry for the green goo.
It's snot with feelings.
I'm just not feeling it.
Mhm. That was Flubber going backwards.
But man, what a year for movies, though.
Indeed, indeed. And there's probably dozens we haven't touched. But yeah, good stuff with the movies. So it was also a an interesting year for TV. I kept my TV list to five. I hope that's all right.
I did also, yeah.
So for TV, I'll start with the new Batman Adventures, which is just basically a continuation of, Batman the animated series, but it was
Hmm.
upgraded. They added Batgirl, and they added a new Robin, and Dick Grayson became Nightwing, but it was still the same producers, still Kevin Conroy and the same voice actors. So
They have
uh,
Catwoman in it.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So then my next pick was Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which I have no shame in admitting that I watched from beginning to. There were some episodes some episodes in the middle seasons that I'm sure I missed, but for the most part, I watched pretty regularly. I got into the spin-off Angel,
Yeah.
and I remember it was a series finale that it lived up to the hype. I thought it was good.
Just don't compare it to Twilight because Buffy will always win.
And Buffy needs to win. I would like to see her beat the glitter off of Edward.
Yes.
Vampires aren't supposed to anyway, I digress. So this next pick is one you definitely had no business watching at the age you would have been when it came out, and that was Oz,
No, I didn't watch the.
prison show on HBO. Oz was one of those shows that just pushed boundaries. Like, they did stuff on Oz that at that point you had never seen on TV before. And a buddy of mine actually had worked with one of the um, name producers on that show. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't know how cool that would be. But
Yeah.
yeah, but Oz, I definitely watched, and I watched that one from pretty much the beginning to the final episode. And it ended the way it was supposed to, dark. But Chris Maloney was actually in that, who you might remember from Law and Order SVU
Oh yeah.
and some other things. The Practice was my next pick for TV. That was the legal show produced by David E. Kelly. I watched pretty much most of those episodes. The ending for that one was just an ending, like most TV shows, we need to figure out how to close the book on it. So but it was a good show. It had some pretty good legal drama. It definitely dramatized some very interesting arguments,
Hmm.
and I did enjoy it. And my number one TV pick, how can it be anything but Stargate SG-1?
I saw that one. I knew you. I knew it was going to be on there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I dug Stargate SG-1, and even though I know I don't remember every single episode because I think there were like 200, I did watch every episode of Stargate
Mhm.
SG-1. I watched a good bit of Atlantis, but at one point I just kind of I stopped keeping up with Atlantis, and I did watch all of Stargate Universe, which, as I mentioned before on the podcast, it was kind of something different. They were trying to compete with Battlestar Galactica, I think, and I think it missed the mark. But as my
That's fair.
honorable mentions, I wanted to mention the Spawn animated series because it was very good.
I did watch that growing up.
And then also another animated version of a feature release, Men in Black, the series, which what I liked about that was it had the same characters, but in their universe, they acknowledged that they weren't exactly the same as Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. They were like their own versions. Because at
Hmm.
one point, the Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith versions actually show up, as Hollywood,
Hmm.
as the Hollywood act as themselves,
Yeah.
being actors playing the roles. So, but I did watch that every Saturday. I miss Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, same here. It was like Saturday morning was what was it? Drawing with Pappy and Pokemon.
Oh, I guess by the point you were watching Saturday morning cartoons, I was no longer watching them. But I mean, that's going to be an episode in and of itself where we're just going to
Oh
have
yeah.
to feature all the goodies of Saturday morning cartoons because man, that's one of the reasons that kids are so worthless today is because they didn't have good cartoons on Saturday morning.
Yeah, they still don't.
Man, I would wake up earlier than I had to wake up to go to school on Saturday morning just to start watching cartoons. Start at like 7 in the morning and didn't stop till 12 in the afternoon.
I
So,
know if I woke up on Saturday and Bubble Guppies was on the TV, my brother would slap the crap out of me.
I was the oldest brother, so it was Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch. Anyway, that is definitely an episode that's going to be in the pipeline. We're going to have to do that one, my friend.
Oh yeah.
So, but your TV picks, please.
I have five as well and one honorable mention. I was a big cartoon watcher growing up. So I'm gonna start with number five, which isn't a cartoon. It is Tenacious D, the series. They made 8 episodes of it. It
Wow.
was Jack Black and Kyle Gass. Yeah.
Okay.
And they're still rocking it out today.
Yes, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Jack Black is a nut.
He's one of my
But
favorites.
he's a talented nut and he is not a bad musician. You can't say you can't besmirch his musical skills.
I would absolutely love to meet him in person.
I'm sure that would be pretty wild.
That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Because you know me pretty good.
Yeah, I would be like, please don't say anything to embarrass himself, embarrass you or him. Please just be on your best behavior. That would be the only advice that I'd give you.
For once, be normal.
And be like, please don't do anything to get on the news.
Oh God.
Uh,
Number four is The Angry Beavers. I don't know if you watched that or caught an
no,
episode of it or
I, I wish I had.
it.
I wish I had so that I had a point of reference because the only point of reference me having is you saying the Angry Beavers is not the best place that my mind goes.
It's
Uh,
it's nothing like strip tease or nothing like that.
no, it couldn't be because you're a kid, but it's just like
Right.
I know you now, and you just
So it's about two brothers. They go off on by themselves and try to live amongst themselves about in the woods and govern and everything happens and it's just a bunch of wild crazy stuff.
okay,
Animated, loved it. I wish they still made it like they did like a reboot of it like they did the Animaniacs.
okay.
That'd be nice if they did that. At number three, you'll know this one for sure. Johnny Bravo.
Well, of course. Uh-huh.
Seth MacFarlane created that before he did Family Guy.
I'm disappointed at myself for not knowing that. I did
Oh
not
yeah.
know.
The projects before Family Guy I know Seth MacFarlane did was Johnny Bravo and Cow and Chicken.
Okay. Yeah, Seth MacFarlane is somebody else who was way, way more talented than you would think of
Yeah.
just because of some of the crazy stuff that he's put out there.
Funny fact about him is Cow and Chicken was created while he was in college. And when he got
Okay.
out, he created Johnny Bravo because Cow and Chicken wasn't successful.
Yeah, well, I think he's close to my age. So no, I know
And
he's
super genius.
yeah, I know he's a Gen Xer though.
Oh yeah. And at number two, King of the Hill.
Yeah, that came up a lot in my research.
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah, I just there just wasn't room on the list. And it had more to do with the fact that I just really never regularly watched it.
Yeah. It was
But
and if we could all just live like that, stand outside, of course I'd be drinking soda instead of drinking what they drink.
right.
And
So,
number one, you ready for this one?
probably not. Go ahead.
It's the second longest running series, South Park.
Yeah. Um yeah.
Yeah.
Uh so I mean, you know me. Um kind of have I've got my conservative side, and there's things that I find funnier than there's things that I'm just like, I don't know.
That's a bit
So
edgy.
so uh fun fact. So I learned about the script with Santa Claus and Jesus getting into a fist fight.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's a bit much for me. That's there's a lot of sacrilege going on. So, and I'm thinking, and this was before the show aired.
Yeah.
So I'm like thinking, if that's their starting point, there's probably not going to be a whole lot that I'm going to enjoy about this show. So I never ever dared to even peek at a whole episode. That said, I mean, when something has been around that long and has, so many of the iconic
Mhm.
sketches, with chefs, chocolate
Yeah.
salty balls, and, you know, Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo, you're going to, get some South Park on you. But
You
that's
got to get
just,
some funk on you.
yeah, that's just a show that I just kind of knew what I was getting into, so I had always kind of avoided, despite the fact that I know that a lot of the stuff is very, very clever, and including they lambasted Kathleen Kennedy not too long ago. But yeah,
Uh,
I'm not surprised though that it ended up on your list. And it,
yeah, they're out there
Parker
for
and
sure.
Stone are definitely very clever.
Yeah, I think the most my favorite thing they've created was the movie, the bigger, longer, and uncut, and it came out in
Okay.
1998 though.
Well, and they also did Team America, didn't they?
I think they had a hand in it. Yeah,
Okay. Which I've not seen the entire way through, but I've seen clips from it because they're
I
out there.
have, and oh my, oh my,
Well, yeah, you've not lived until you've seen full on puppet sex.
yeah, yeah, you're just living under a rock.
But yeah, once again, good compilation there. I think that is a list, and I'm glad that we have different tastes because while there's no way that South Park would have ended up in my top 50 TV shows, it does merit a spot. And it's culturally relevant, and it did impact the culture, so
Yeah,
absolutely.
they did the Ozempic episode recently. Yeah. Oh, I
uh
have an honorable mention.
Please.
Smart Guy.
That came up in my research also.
That has Omar Gooding, Taj Mowry, John Marshall Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched that growing up too. That was really one of my favorite non-cartoon shows.
Nice. Well, that only leaves the music from 97.
Oh, the music.
I am going to limit my pick to five, only because there's so many you can just get trapped going down a rabbit hole.
We can talk about this forever. I mean,
But let's just get this out of the way right now. R. Kelly was active in 1997. I will not be picking anything by R. Kelly because we will be giggling pre-adolescent boys by the time we're done. There'll be no talk of urinating on anything.
I can't hold it back anymore, man.
There'll be no talk of closets.
Oh God.
You do remember the whole trapped in the closet saga.
I do, yeah. I think
And I'm trapped in the closet.
I was like 16 when that came out.
I was like, are you serious? Um,
No, he's
and,
trapped in a prison.
yeah, yeah, we had no idea at that time, but that was not even the tip of the iceberg. Oh dear.
So many tips.
But really quickly, I've always been a Seal fan, so Seal's cover of "Fly Like an Eagle" was definitely one of my favorites. So that's one of my five. This one might surprise you. "Tub Thumping" by Chumbawamba.
Oh, that song seems to always get back up.
Yes, it does. It's so easy to sing to. I get knocked down, but I'll get up again. Anyway,
Yeah, that song though. If I get knocked down, you ain't getting me back up.
So I'll be missing you with the now mm, the
Hmm.
the now fallen from grace Puff Daddy, P. Diddy,
Let's just add that Sting gets royalties from that song every time it's played, so that's the positive from it.
Foxy Brown.
Oh, there you go.
I'll definitely have to include these. No Diggity by Blackstreet.
No doubt. Love that song.
But they're saying it's like it peaked in 96, but it's a 97 release. So I don't know how that works. But
That's it should be 98 peaked, right?
I mean, that's what would make sense to me. I don't understand how it peaked before it came out. But yeah, that was one of my jams. And then I have to give Tony Braxton some love with Unbreak My Heart.
Oh yeah. Miss Braxton.
And finally, Macarena.
There's so many times I've mispronounced every word of that song.
Well, yeah, because you don't have to pronounce the words. You just have to be like on key and be like in the pocket and like hit the rhythm.
Yeah.
Going to the store, gonna get some peanut butter. You don't have to.
Yeah.
I'm at home and I'm sitting on the toilet. Hey, Macarena.
Macarena. Hey.
So, but those are my five.
Those are some good ones. And funny ones too. Oh man.
Uh, I believe I can fly.
Oh Lord.
I think that's now. Man, I wish I could fly out this prison and say goodbye.
I'll never see the light of day.
They locked me up and threw the key away,
They just closed the door.
and there's piss all over the floor. Anyway, it's your turn.
This is great. So my first pick I have is Around the World by Daft Punk.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, that one rocks still. Um, I have Backyard Boogie by Mac 10.
Okay.
Uh, back then he was a big known rapper with a bit of funk to him. Kind of sounded like the OJs mixed with rap.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Oh yeah. And actually my next pick is the OJs. What's Stopping You? Love that song.
What you know about
And
some OJs now?
man, I'm telling you, my taste is like anywhere from the 30s and up.
Well, I mean, anybody whose favorite group is the Temptations has got to have you was brought up right.
Oh yeah, I was brought up multicultured, very multicultured. We even got reggae going on. All right, so this next guy, he can make a whole room stand up just by breathing hard. And I'm talking about the Notorious B.I.G. Hypnotized.
Yep, Biggie.
Oh yeah, Biggie Smalls. And I have the most annoying song of 1997, Barbie Girl.
Let's go,
Yes.
Barbie. Let's go party.
Man, I remember I was going down the road and I had my ex, she put in a CD and I was thinking, okay, this is gonna be a mix of our songs. We're cruising down the road. First track played, it was Barbie Girl. I was like, that's her song, whatever, cool. Second song was Barbie Girl. Third song was Barbie Girl. She had 17 tracks of Barbie Girl on the CD.
Like the same song
The
17 times.
same song. Every track was Barbie Girl. The sixth time I chucked the CD out the window. I was like, oh no.
I I can't listen to a song that I like maybe three times in a row if I'm like really, really like feeling it.
Yeah, you got to be in that groove.
But normally it's like, oh, I'll listen to that again. And after the second time, I'm straight. I'm good. I was like, okay, that was 14 minutes. I got to go do something else with my life now.
Yeah.
All righty.
Yeah.
Did you have
So
an honorable?
an honorable mention.
Yes.
Oh no, not this time. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, strong music picks. Strong picks for 97 just in general. There was a lot of so there was a lot of stuff.
It's a good year.
One of the things there's a speaking of what this song came out like maybe like 5 years ago, but uh you've heard of the group Chic.
Yeah.
They released a kind of a throwback song a few years back called I'll Be There. But there's a kind of a cool lyric from that song, which is kind of sums up our podcast. It's like I don't want to live in the past, but it's a nice place to visit.
Oh, that hits hard right there.
Yeah, and that's I kind of feel like that's kind of what that's what we're doing, and looking at it from a couple different perspectives. So this is cool.
Yeah.
So the
Good to
next,
relive the good memories. Love it.
yes. All right. Well, the next year's on you. Can't wait to find out
I'm
what it is.
gonna have to think about this one.
That wraps up 97. What are we telling folks to like and subscribe?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me tell them. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember, there's someone out there holding the breath, waiting for you to fail. Make sure they suffocate.
Wise words. Could not agree more. All right. And with that, I'll say X.
I'll say why.
See you later.
See you later.
And we're out. She won the right to use her husband's dead sperm. I just want to know what she did with it.
I'm Google it. I mean, it might tell you.
I mean, because did she make herself pregnant so that she could raise the kids alone?
What, she use a turkey baster?
Well, because I mean, when you think about it, she's making herself pregnant so that she can have a kid, but her husband's dead. So, best case scenario